What's up guys, it's TheHunterProject here. Welcome to my channel where you'll find Monster Hunter news, builds, playthroughs and everything in between. Today I'm bringing you a video on Monster Hunter remakes. This is something that always pops up here and there over the course of each game's life cycle, whether or not we will see a remake of an ancient Monster Hunter title. And before I get into it, be sure to hit the like button if you do enjoy, and subscribe for more Monster Hunter content, and most of all, leave a comment down below whether or not you would like to see a Monster Hunter title be remade. And be sure to include which Monster Hunter title it is, as to the reason why you chose that specific one. So first, I would like to mention how a remake could sound like a good idea, and of course, the main one being they can update the movement system to the current one, that is much more fluid and refined, in addition to all the quality of life updates like continuous carving and quicker ledge climbing. This is one of the main outdated areas of the oldest titles in the series, and it is more prevalent than ever with World's movement system that has been even further developed into Rise. And of course, they wouldn't bring back the wire bug or the clutch claw, but for the most part, Rise's movement can be implemented into an older game like Freedom 1 for example, without too much hassle. And it does always pain me going back to those games and then having that jump animation when you jump on a ledge and the character jumps up first and then pulls himself up instead of just one fluid movement. And of course, realistically, that's probably how they would be doing things, considering they have massive swords on their back. But for the sake of wanting to play the game, we're not really playing Cliff Simulator or something, we're playing Monster Hunter, so there shouldn't be too much difficulty in those really tedious things. And of course they did fix that in later titles, so that would definitely be one of the main things they would be fixing. And in addition to that, they would be able to update the monsters' movesets as well and give all the weapon types available in those titles their most current combos. And on top of all that, we do know that remakes can be done very well, with many other series having recreated their oldest entries up to modern standards. And obviously it's like a type of fan service most of the time, or maybe like an anniversary thing at the same time. And they've for the most part been received quite well. One of my favourite remakes being Halo 2 Anniversary, and while the Master Chief Collection as a whole had many problems at launch, the campaign itself for Halo 2 and its remake was just amazing, and the cutscenes were recreated to an extremely high standard by Blur Studios, which still just blows my mind when I watch any of the cutscenes. But getting back on topic, there are many positives like the previously mentioned movement and combo updates, as well as map recreations, but there are a few negative sides to this topic, and they are quite impactful ones. The first one being the time consumption of bringing over a vast amount of low poly data, which at the time was probably a lot simpler to create, and they were able to push out content really quickly, and taking all of that vast amount of content and recreating it in a HD model in an all new engine. This would take a considerable amount of time away from the developers, meaning not all hands will be on deck for the newest installment of Monster Hunter, whether that is the next Monster Hunter game or the G expansion for the current release. And in addition to all that, the developers have already shown monsters and maps returning in the newest and freshest entries to the series, just like how we saw the Sandy Plains and Flooded Forest return with their reimagining to fit the no swimming aspect of Rise. And full-on remakes at this point, to be honest, don't really seem necessary, and the likelihood of us seeing them is extremely low based on how Monster Hunter generally releases. And on top of that, I feel like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was their final goodbye to the old style of Monster Hunter, and in a sense was a remake of all of them thrown into one mashup. So this kind of puts the nail in the coffin as to the question whether or not we will get a full-blown remake anytime soon. But even though we might not get a remake, I'm sure we might get some ports later down the line, maybe just straight bringing one of the older games to whatever the newest platform is, similar to how they brought Freedom Unite to the iOS. Of course, I'm pretty sure they have taken down Freedom Unite from the App Store, but they've done it in the past, so it's possible they could port over an older game. But as for an actual remake, I really doubt it. Personally, I don't think a remake is necessary for a Monster Hunter game. As much as I love the older titles, and I would love to see a remake of 3 Ultimate with reimagined water mechanics, all the things I want back can easily be re-implemented into the newer games, keeping the newest entry to the series fresh but familiar. I think Monster Hunter Rise specifically did a fantastic job for the most part in showing this being done, and although I'd have liked a bit more content overall from the launch, I think it's a great game, and if the base game did actually launch as it intended to, I think it would have been easily the best, if not one of the best, Monster Hunter games in the franchise, like just instantly. But still, for me, I still personally have it really high up there. I would say it's definitely top 2 Monster Hunter games. I don't know if I can give it the number 1 spot yet, but right now, it is fresh, so I do have a bit of a bias towards it. But we'll see later when the life cycle ends, then obviously we can judge how it compares up to the other Monster Hunter titles. But of course, if a Monster Hunter remake did come our way, I would be extremely excited, but I wouldn't want them, unless they made like a Team C, so they had the console team, the portable team, and a third team of developers, like trying to recreate assets from the older games and slowly building up to a remake. I'm 100% down for that, but if they do have to split the working force of the newest entries, then I definitely probably would not want them, just so we can actually get newer content rather than just bringing old content back for the sake of nostalgia. And I still think to this day, like Freedom Unite and like 3 Ultimate, they still stand up like today with how they play, at least. Of course the graphics are a bit outdated, but for the most part I still think you can go back and have a good time. And especially like 4 Ultimate, and obviously GU's like relatively new, but like 4 Ultimate specifically, that's one of my favourite Monster Hunter games, and you can easily go back to that. It has slightly outdated combos, but the weapon types are all there, fortunately, because of course Charge Blade and Insect Glaive were introduced then, and the combat's there, the movement, that's where it started to pick up in the series as well, so it's definitely a good standard there. So I just don't think we do need a remake for any of the Monster Hunter games, as they can easily, like I mentioned multiple times through this video, they can bring back Monster Hunter titles without literally bringing back like the entire game and remaking it all. They can just bring assets forward and just make them HD and just re-implement them. And with that said guys, that does bring us to the end of this video. Be sure to smash the like button if you did enjoy, it's extremely appreciated and helps out the channel a lot. Be sure to subscribe for more Monster Hunter content, and comment down below on your thoughts for Monster Hunter remakes and whether or not you would want them to be a thing. And I look forward to reading all of your comments. Don't forget to join the Discord, link is at the top of the description. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.